are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So welcome to Elegant Conversation with Jacqueline Valdez. Our next guest that we have is Allison Sipes, and she is a pole dancer. She is the CEO of Florida Pole Fitness Championship and Dance Filthy, and then also went viral for being a pregnant pole dancer.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I was not the first to go viral pregnant pole dancing, but certainly not the last.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was 2 years ago. My
Wow.
daughter is almost 2.5. It's crazy
Oh my gosh. Time
how
must go so
fast
fast.
time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let the viewers know a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Allison. I have been pole dancing since 2005, which is a very long time.
Time goes
And
by really fast.
yeah, it's been really cool to see how much the industry has changed and the media and mainstream's perception towards it since I started
Yes.
to now. But yeah, I started in a studio in Orlando, Florida. That's
Okay.
no longer open, but yeah. And then after a few classes, I started teaching, and then
Right.
I bought a pole for my house and started learning through YouTube videos. And I was following people like Felix Kane and
Right.
Janine Butterfly and Carol Helms and Leanne Riley
Very
and
cool.
yeah, all these
Some
people
pretty
back
big names
then.
in the pole industry.
Big names. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are back in the day people. And
Yeah.
I realized then that I was a visual learner. So I was able to watch their videos and try to take my dance and gymnastics background and
Yes.
figure out how to do it. And
Okay.
then I started competing in 2009. I was in the
Wow.
East Coast US PDF Championship. And then I competed with them, I think 4 times total.
Wow.
Two was amateur and then 2 were professional. So I got my pro card the
Right.
second time I competed.
Wow.
And then after that, I started getting into aerials and found that it was a great way to cross train. And it was very similar in a lot of ways to pole, but very different too.
Right.
And so I got into that. And then I think it was 2012, I started the Florida Pole Fitness Championship. And with the help of X-Pole, I was able to put on one of the first pole fitness championships in Florida at the time.
Wow.
And
That's so exciting. Yeah. So some people might not know, but in the pole industry, there's competitions that are worldwide, and there's different divisions, different levels, and X-Pole is actually the leading supplier for fitness equipment, fitness aerial equipment.
Yeah, so they were a huge sponsor for that first year. And then after that, I just kept going with it and realized that there was a lot of talented people in Florida and in like the Southeast, but there were very few and far between competitions at that time, back in 2012. Okay.
Right.
And it was really expensive to travel to places like New York or LA or wherever these big competitions were happening. And so we sold out the first year and they had to change venues because we reached capacity. Then we moved to a big theater, and then I had requests for people to do a showcase. So then I started the Florida Pole and Aerial Art Showcase, and we did that for about 4 years.
And that was exciting because you gave people an opportunity who wanted to perform but were scared to perform and compete, and so they could actually just still get on the stage, still get a taste of it, but not have to have the strict rules and the frightening part of competing.
Yeah, but they were able to get professional pictures and video. So it was like the total package of competing but not being scored.
Yes. And so it's exciting because I was in both shows. I was in your first Florida Pole, and then I was also in the showcase too. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you've been in Florida Pole a few times.
Yeah.
Taking home some hardware. So cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I was approached by Michelle Shimmy in 2015 to produce Dance Filthy here in America. So Dance Filthy is a franchise started in Sydney, Australia. And so I started that, and this would have been our 5th year.
Wow.
However, coronavirus.
Right.
And I
Rona.
just didn't feel that those kind of events were the same to do virtually. I understand that there's a lot of competitions now that are going virtual, and that's great, but
It's hard.
I really feel like it needs to be in person, and when we feel like we can safely do that, then we'll definitely do them again.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like the energy changes once
It
you're
does.
in person. It's just you feed off each other. It's just so sexy and raw and just,
Yeah, when you're on stage, it's like you hear the audience and they're cheering for you and they're clapping, and you know, it's such a energy exchange that cannot be duplicated through a screen like that.
That's so true. So do you have a tip that you could give someone who is wanting to compete or is new, I guess, to the industry and wanting to get some performance into them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I would say start small, right? And start with your studio showcases if you attend a studio, because that is a good environment to get your feet wet. Again, a showcase, not a competition, because you will be performing in front of your peers, your instructors, you know, your close family and friends, and you'll be able to get that adrenaline and that feeling of performing in front of people without having to be judged. So I would start with that. And then I would research all of the competitions that you're interested in doing. And this means reading all of the rules, like all of them. Making sure you understand what they mean, because, you know, truth is, a lot of times winning a competition isn't about being the best, but who followed the rules. Right? And who did all the things that were asked of or not asked of. And, you know, checking all those boxes. So pick a competition that you feel matches with your style. So I wouldn't tell someone who is more athletic or fitness based to do a Dance Filthy, because Dance Filthy is more performance based and it is very, very risque. And it is some of the same movements, but not done in the same fashion and wouldn't be scored the same way. So a competition such as like Pole Sport, you know, they've got a list of moves that you have to do. You must do them. And within those parameters, you have to hold them for a certain amount of time. Your toes have to be pointed, or, you know, whatever the conditions are. So I would pick a competition that matches your style, because you're going to score better, and make sure you understand the rules and what the competition's looking for. If it's a competition that has been around for a while, I would look at some of their past videos, maybe look and see who their past winners were, and maybe ask around some feedback. If anyone has attended or competed, you know, what was your experience? And it'll be across the board, but if it's a bad event overall, you're going to hear about it, right?
Or
if it's a good event, you'll hear about it. You know, the events that are great, I think, are few and far between, but
that's so true. And what does it take? Because you do put on really good events.
I do. You know, I have put on over 20 events since I started in 2012. A few of them were collaborations with other organizations like the U.S. Pole Sports Federation and Pole Sport Organization, two separate ones. But I will say that you need to have a plan as far as your, like, gosh, there's so many. Where to start? Start 6 months in advance or a year. Because you're going to need about that much time to get the word out about it, put the deposits down on the venue, get your insurance, make a program if you're going to have that, digital or not, any merchandise that you need printed or made. And then if it's like a competition or some kind of event where people are being scored, you need to give them enough time to train to make their submission or application, and then enough time to train their routine. I like to give people about 2.5 months from the closing date of the application to competition day. It's been as short as a month, but that was for Dance Filthy, where there were no movement requirements. Like, it wasn't like, I need you to do 3 spins and 5 of this. No, it was tell a story. They had to submit their concept first, and then it needed to be sexual. Like, And there were parameters with that too, like,
Right.
you know, no sex toys, and you couldn't like simulate having sex with someone. Like there was,
Right.
you know, lines that were
No
drawn,
rules.
because I
Yeah.
did want some art to it. I didn't want people to just run around with a bunch of dildos and think that
Yeah.
that's what you had to do to win.
There has to be some class.
Yeah, there's other events for that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But this is not the
this
one. But yeah, and you need to get your money up front. Like putting on a competition is an investment, and financially, like you have to consider all of these things. Like you have to put down the deposit for the venue, which could range anywhere between a few hundred to a few thousand, depending on where and how many square feet or whatever. Your poles, how are you going to put those up? Are you going to use stage poles? Are you going to get a truss system? If you get a truss system, where are you going to get it from? Have they rigged poles before? Do they
have to be safe.
What kind of design you need? There's so many things. And then if you're going to do a competition, then you got to figure out what your rules are going to be, right? What kind of a competition are you going to have? How are you going to be different than what's already out there?
That's
you know,
true.
Now,
there's
almost
so many
9 years
popping
later,
up now.
there are so many opportunities now. And I have noticed that the market is very saturated. And so you have to get really creative with your competition. And you need to have judges that are respected in the community or are skilled in their craft. Now, I will say for Dance Filthy, I had 1 year I had a guy, his name is Scott Soldo. He is one of the main singers in the Supervillains group. And so although he does not have any pole dancing experience, his wife, Bree, owns a pole studio here in Orlando called Dandelion. So he's familiar with pole. But I thought for Dance Filthy, it would be a good perspective because it's a sexy competition, right?
Yeah.
And I've got 2 girls already, but now I need a guy's perspective. You know, who would you want to see dance again, right? Who would you pay money to watch perform for you, right? So I kind of wanted that. But my other competitions, Florida Pole, I would do more people in the industry. One of the things that I like to do is I take my winner from the previous year and have them be one of the judges. And then I like to find other people from around the country or around the world, because I'm in Orlando. Sometimes I can get an international person. And I have them.
Yeah. So how have you seen the industry change since when you first started?
Well, there's a lot more events, which is good. There are a lot more mainstream opportunities to see pole. For example, the Hustlers movie, that new show P Valley on Stars, J-Lo at the Super Bowl. So it's becoming more prevalent in the public media than it was when I first started. And so because of that, it's not where it used to be where you tell someone that you're doing pole dancing and they're like, you know, it's so taboo. Now it's like, oh, my friends tried that, or oh, I saw that on Super Bowl with halftime, or oh, I heard of that on Oprah. So it's the response to it now isn't as shocking as it may have been 15 years ago. So that's definitely changed. The fact that children are involved now is like a crazy thing. When I first started, it was just exotic dancers and a few people like me that were rogue and just fell into it and was like fascinated by it. And it can be so many things now. I've seen pole evolve from so many things. You know, when I first started, it was heavily influenced by the sex work industry and strippers, and the style was very, you know, you'd wear string bikinis or nothing at all, and these like huge platform shoes, and you know, there was a handful of tricks that you could do, but mostly it was just like entertaining, right?
And then, now there's kids and children, and
more dance and fitness-based people got involved, and it became way more athletic, and the tricks went from like a basic inversion butterfly handspring thing to like fongies and backflips and jumping from pole to pole and like multiple people on a pole and pole doubles and
super extreme.
And it's been cool to see a sport like that from its infancy to now be this thing. And it's still very niche, and it's still a very small industry. And I hate to say it, but I honestly feel like it's a trend, and it will it'll still be around forever. But
Right.
like CrossFit and Zumba and some of these other fitness activities that have like really had their heyday, I feel like we're kind of capping out, because there are so many events and there are so many things and opportunities now that it's, I mean, there's only so many people that are going to want to learn how to pole dance, right?
Yeah.
So
that's true. So how have you been keeping yourself busy during this whole lockdown with everything going on? How has that affected you?
Yeah, well, being in Orlando, Florida, in one of the epicenters has been a real challenge. You know, we had our gyms closed for a few months, and some of them have closed permanently, unfortunately. And, you know, I have 6 poles in my garage because of all these events that I have, right? But I have nowhere to put them up in my townhouse. So it's been torture. So for the first like few months, I did nothing, and it sucked. But now the gyms are open again. So I've been teaching 1 class a week at Vixen Fitness on Wednesdays at 11, and I go live every Wednesday at around like 11:45, just for like the run through, like the end of class stuff, and then I put the full routine up on Instagram and YouTube. And then I've been doing privates at people's homes, and then also in different studios. And then I've been driving to Stuart, Florida, to go to Twisted Aerial Fitness, owned by Jacqueline Scott. And then
so you've definitely been keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, now that things have opened again, even though the numbers are still high.
Yeah,
I've been busier
really
now than I was before, and I'm making way more money. I've also done a couple instructor trainings. I did an aerial hoop one at Twisted Flight Fitness, and then I did a spin pole one at Bliss Fitness Studio.
So, so then you also went viral during your pregnancy.
Oh my God. Okay. So that was crazy. You know, I was very curious to see how my body would react with pole dance. And I had a lot of morning sickness, but it was all day, almost the whole time. But it got better towards the end, and I just listened to my body and made sure that I wasn't doing anything new or anything that I felt was going to put me at risk. I was only doing skills that I have been doing for over a decade. And the further along I got, the less I was able to invert and do these crazy tricks. But yeah, my baby was upside down, head up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I tried everything that I could to get her to flip, and it didn't. Like, I tried everything. So I ended up having a C-section. Do you have any tips that you could give anyone that is pregnant and wanting to continue pole dancing? Or they're worried that they can't pole dance if they're pregnant? I get this question all the time. People message me that are pregnant or just found out, or you know, whatever. And I will say, if you have not done pole dance prior to pregnancy, don't do it now. Like, don't try anything new. It is not recommended. If you have been doing pole for, I want to say, more than 6 months to a year consistently, I'd say continue at your current level. But do not increase your intensity. Do not try tricks that you haven't done before, and nothing that requires a spot. And make sure that you're clear with your doctor about like the activities that you're doing. My doctor was very open to it. She's familiar with aerial arts, and I showed her a few videos in one of my appointments, and she was like, as long as you feel safe, you know, keep going. She was very supportive. I did not do anything that I felt at any time was putting me at risk. I, you know, stretched and warmed up before and after. And honestly, I got to tell you guys, like, Instagram versus reality, right? Here's some reality. I would teach my class. I would get another student or an assistant instructor to demonstrate the parts that I couldn't. And then the clips that I put up on the internet was literally 5 to maybe 10 minutes worth of me doing any activity on the pole. It was not me training for an hour or even 20 minutes straight. It was, let me see how many spins, or let me see if I can climb, or let me see, it was all those videos where let me see if I can do this still, or let me see if I feel like, I was always looking for that time where it was like, oh, this is too much, or, oh, I really shouldn't, or, oh, I can't. And
you really listen to your body.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel
Yeah.
like my 13 years at that time of
Yeah.
experience and being really active the whole time and eating well
Wow.
and, you know, just taking breaks when I needed to was the
Yeah.
best. And the fact that I had a C-section, I mean, it wasn't great at first, but looking back, it was
Yeah.
really good.
Wow.
I totally skipped labor
Yeah.
altogether. It was scheduled. I didn't go
Wow.
into labor early, and I had a good night's sleep the night before, and I went into the hospital at 10 in the morning, and the
Right.
baby was born by
Oh,
noon, 12:15, and I mean, the
wow.
recovery was challenging
Yeah.
for sure. Not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah.
my
I was going
body
to
is
ask you about
100%
the
different.
recovery. Okay.
So some more advice is be kind to yourself, because
Yeah.
whether you've had a natural or a C-section type birth, like, your body is not ever going to be the same, and that's
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
created and birthed a human, and
Yeah.
you really need to be forgiving on what you think you should be able to do versus what you can do.
I
And
love
it
that.
has been a very humbling experience. And I also highly recommend anyone who
Uh-huh.
has a child to get pelvic floor physical therapy after.
Yes.
It is
That's
not talked about enough with OBs because it's not their scope. But for
right.
anyone that is really active and likes to do aerial activities, go upside down or anything like that, you do anything more than
Okay.
just sitting,
Yeah.
definitely seek one out. And all you should
Okay.
have to do is at your 6-week appointment or whatever, you ask your OB
Right.
for a referral. And that was the most beneficial for me because I did
Wow.
all kinds of exercises with her, the therapist, that I wouldn't have done before. She did
Wow.
lots of treatment that I wouldn't have done. We did
Nice.
electroacupuncture. She did
Wow.
myofascial release, massage therapy. We did ultrasound. We worked with a Pilates reformer. She had me do these
Wow.
breathing exercises. I mean, it was a whole slew of things.
So you can
Um,
come back after having the
Yes. And
baby.
so
Yeah.
when I did come back, right,
Yeah.
everyone that had seen me was like, oh, wow, you know, you bounced right back. You got right back into
Yeah.
it. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't though. Like
You worked
at
hard.
6 weeks, I was not there. Like
Yeah.
there was no way. Like, so at my 6-week appointment, I knew that I needed therapy. And I'm so
Right.
glad that I did that. So listen to your body,
Okay.
open communication with your doctor.
Okay.
You know, be kind, be gentle to yourself. Don't have
I
high
love that.
expectations. You know, now is the time to really take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And afterwards, get pelvic floor therapy. You
Okay.
should
I
not
love
be peeing yourself when you laugh or cough or do jumping jacks. Like, it's not normal.
Yeah.
Some people need surgery for that. And,
Yeah.
you know, for some people, unfortunately, it's never fixed, but there
Yeah.
are ways to fix that. So
To get it
pelvic
better.
floor
Okay.
therapy, I cannot
Stress that
stress
enough.
it enough. But yeah,
Awesome.
but
I
yes,
could talk
if
to you
you've been pole dancing
forever.
before, you know, it's okay. Just listen to your body.
Yeah, so true. I could talk to you forever. So we're
I
also
know.
good friends from years ago. So I'm super excited to have you here. What do you want to be remembered for?
That I am able to inspire people to try something that they never thought they could do, and that it transforms their life in more ways than they think that it ever could have been.
I love it.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Everyone
Thank you guys
watching,
for
thank
tuning
you.
in.
Please follow me
Yes.
on Instagram and YouTube.
Thank you. Bye,
Love
guys.
you.
Love you.